Hey everybody, Ryan here at etrailer.com. Today on our 2016 Nissan Versa, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Crossbar-Style base plate kit with removable arms. Now for the Nissan Versa Note, you're going to need 7 main components to be able to flat tow it down the road. You're going to need a tow bar, a base plate, safety cables, a diode wiring kit, a braking system, a battery charge line, and a brake light relay. Our base plate is going to give us a solid and reliable connection point. That way we can hook our tow bar to our motorhome, to our base plate, and allow us to flat tow our vehicle down the road. One of the things I like about this base plate kit is that it's not going to be very visible. It's actually going to be tucked back a little bit and not that noticeable when we're not using it. Base plate's going to work with all Roadmaster quick disconnects as well as tow bars. Now if you have another style of tow bar, chances are pretty good there's an adapter available that'll allow you to properly pair it with our base plate. And whenever we're ready to put our removable arms in, it's very simple. We'll make sure that this pin is on top, push it into place, and then turn it a quarter turn. And this pin will actually go into a cutout here in the base plate. And you just repeat that process over here on this side. And on each side, we're also going to have some safety chain loops. And these are going to be open enough to allow us to easily connect and disconnect our safety cables. And one of the things I really like is that our base plate is going to have a pre-installed electrical bracket, and that makes mounting your 6-way plug nice and easy. Now to get our base plate installed, we are going to have to remove the front fascia, so that can be a little involved. However, once our fascia is out of the way, the base plate is straightforward. There's going to be no drilling required or anything like that. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and put it on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to need to remove 5 plastic fasteners here along the front edge of our fascia. All 5 of them are going to be here, 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 and here. And they're all going to remove the same way. To get them out, you can use a trim panel tool or even a flathead screwdriver. You're going to pry underneath the head of the fastener. Kind of work it out like so, and then it'll just pop out. Now here in our fender well, we're going to have 1 screw. We're going to remove that with a T20 Torx bit. And then with that out of the way, we can kind of peel back our fascia. And peel back our fender liner. Up until where our fascia meets the quarter panel. We're actually going to have a bolt here that we need to take out, and we're going to do that using a 10mm. And once we have this out, we'll go ahead and repeat that same process on the other side. Now here underneath the car, on each side, we're going to have 3 T20 Torx bit screws that we need to remove. Once again, on each side, we're going to remove 3 more plastic fasteners. The ones that we're going to take off are going to actually be connected to this plastic splash shield. So we're going to have 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So now we're going to remove the remaining push pin fasteners along this edge of our splash shield. That way we can pull our shield down, pull it out, and set it off to the side. We're actually going to have 2 nuts holding our splash shield on as well, here and here. So we'll take those off using a 13mm socket. Now if you come to each side of our grill, we're going to have the little square opening. That's going to be an access hole. What you're going to want to do is grab a small flat blade screwdriver And it can be kind of tricky to see. What you're going to do is you're going to feed that screwdriver in there, and there's going to be a plastic tab. And what you're going to need to do is line that flathead up with that tab and turn it, and then it'll release this portion of the grill from our cross member in the front here. Now it's a little tricky to see, but just a couple inches back behind our grill on each side of our logo here, we're going to have two more push pin fasteners, the same type that we removed earlier. And they're going to be facing down like this on each side. So you're going to want to go ahead and get your flathead in there, get those popped up and removed. Now we can remove our fascia. Now we're going to start on each side here at the wheel well and break it loose till we get to about the center of our headlight, and then we can work our way from the center. So what we're going to do is grab behind our fascia, just kind of gently work it away from the quarter panel up to about here. Once we have it removed from the front of the car, you just want to gently tilt it back, make sure you don't have any electrical connectors, and then go ahead and set your fascia off to the side so it doesn't get damaged. In this area right here, that's where we actually pushed our flathead screwdriver through that access hole in the grill. That fastener is still on the grill, but I just like to point out where that area was. That's where that fastener went into here, and whenever we turned it, it actually lined up with this opening and allowed us to pull it out. Now we can remove our plastic shock absorber pad here off our bumper beam. It's going to be held in place with a few push down tabs, not only on the top side but the bottom. So what you're going to do is just use your finger to push those down and kind of just pull it away from our bumper beam. We can just set it off to the side. Now on the back side of our bumper beam, we're going to have 3 plastic push pin fasteners that we need to take off. We're going to have one right here on the passenger side holding this piece of plastic to our bumper beam. So we'll need to take that one off. And we're going to have 2 more closer to the center. We're also going to have one of those push pin fasteners right down here in the center of our bumper beam. And that's going to be help holding our plastic air dam in place. We have the same setup over here closer to the driver's side. Now we can take our bumper beam itself off. On the driver's side, we're going to take off 3 13mm nuts. And on the passenger side, we're going to take off 4 of those 13mm nuts. And with all of our hardware removed, we can pull our bumper beam away and set it off to the side. Just to give you a better idea, here's where these push pin fasteners were connected. This one here went to the bumper beam here, went to there, and this one went into this hole. Now on the driver's side only, we're going to need to remove this piece of plastic. It's going to be held in place by 3 push pin fasteners. One here and here. Then we're actually going to have one down here, and we'll get to the head of it on the inside of our wheel well. We just work this piece out and set it off to the side. And on the passenger side, we're going to have to remove our washer bottle. That's going to be held in place by 3 10mm bolts. We're going to have one down here, right here, and on the back side of the bottle in between the fender liner. Once we have those out, going to lift up on it and just kind of let it hang in this position for now. We need to take out this push pin fastener that's holding this side ducting in place here on the passenger side. You can just set this off to the side. Now on each side, we're going to trim up our radiator air dams according to the diagram and the instructions. I'm just going to use some tin snips to do this. However, it is relatively thin plastic, so you could use a Dremel tool or even a sharp utility knife. Over here on the driver's side, we're going to have our coolant bottle, and we need to just lift it up out of the way for now. So we'll take off this 10mm bolt that's holding it down. And just kind of grab the bottle and just loosen it up. That way, when we put our base plate on, if we have to, we can kind of move this around to get access to our hardware. Now we can take our main receiver brace and put it over those factory studs that was holding on our bumper beam. What we're going to do for all of our studs on each side, we're going to take one of the included flat washers, and we're going to reuse our factory nuts for all those. Now before we put our nuts on, and something I want to point out, for the remaining hardware that we're going to use to secure any of our base plate components, we're always going to use some red Loctite on the threads. So we just want to put a couple drops on each one. And then we can re-secure our factory nuts. Now, for the time being, we're just going to get all of our hardware hand tight. Now we can take our side brace over here on our passenger side. Now how this is going to work is this portion of the tab is going to set on our main brace here. These two holes will line up. Then this flat tab with the hole in it is going to line up with the hole in our frame. So work that back. And for the time being, we're going to loosely install our hardware to hold it in place. So we'll take our smaller bolts, drop it down through. Then on the bottom side, we're going to secure them using a split lock washer and a nut. Now we're going to mount the rear tab on our side braces. Now how this is going to work is we're going to take one of our longer bolts. We're going to just put this through the tab, and one of our spacers, the round one, is actually going to rest in between the frame and our side plate tab. And here's what it looks like on this side of the bracket with our bolt and our round spacer in place. And here is where the bolt comes out of the other side of the frame. So what we'll do is put on some Loctite. We're going to take a flat spacer block, then on first, followed by a split lock washer and our nut. Get it hand tight. We're going to use this exact same setup and technique over on the other side. Now with all of our hardware in place, we can go ahead and tighten it all down. Now I'm going to use a torque wrench to tighten all of our hardware down to the specification found in the instructions. With our base plate completely torqued down, now would be a good time to install any other flat towing components if you have them, such as your wiring or braking system. Because with the front end removed, we'll have a lot more room to work. If not, at this point, you would reinstall your fascia in the opposite order that you removed it. And that'll do it for our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster Crossbar-Style base plate kit on our 2016 Nissan Versa.